decades have been defined by the war on terror, but they've also been defined by the actions of many Americans who have responded over the last 20 years with hope, spirit and resilience. Hope, as frightened New Yorkers came to the aid of one another. A spirit that continues with the National Day of Service. The non-profit 9/11 Day wants to mark this 20th anniversary with 20 million acts of kindness. Resilience. 19 children of firefighters who died on 9/11 graduated as firefighters themselves, following in their parents' literal footsteps. The population of New York indeed has grown 10% in the last 20 years. It's now one of the fastest growing major American cities. Hope, resilience and spirit. And that's why we have Catherine DeVrye, the author of Hope Happens, who joins us now from Sydney, where she's very kindly got up in the middle of the night, or at least certainly very early in the morning. Catherine, it's easy to be maudlin and to reflect, but if we take 9/11 and we then look at all the crises and wars, Iraq, the great financial crisis, which put many of us out of jobs and caused us crisis, and now the pandemic. But you argue there has to be hope.
I think there always has to be hope, because when you've lost a loved one, you've lost a job, you've lost your health or your wealth or anything important, it's important to keep hope in your heart and look at the future, as dim and dark as the past might be.
You say that. And your book talks about this. And in fact, if we look at the way in which you spread out hope with the various letters of HOPE, the concepts that you put within this, how do you continue in the face of adversity?
One step at a time. And I wrote that book from experience because, Richard, on 9/11, we all know where we were on that tragic day. I happened to be the keynote speaker at the World Airline Conference in Brisbane, speaking to 1,600 delegates around the world. About the topic was, you can't control change, you can only control your attitude towards change. And I was at Brisbane Airport waiting and waiting for my flight back, and a friend called to say her mother had died of cancer that day. And to her, that was a much bigger tragedy than thousands of strangers on the other side of the world, even though she's a very compassionate person. And I remembered when my parents died of cancer when I was 21 years old. I was an only child, I had no family, and I came to Australia with a backpack, $200, and a one-way ticket for a 3-month working holiday, and I thought my life was over. And I've kept a diary every night since then of inspirational sayings that got me through tough times. So I started writing a letter to my friend of inspirational sayings that I might have had posted on my fridge wall or my bathroom mirror, and it ultimately morphed into a little book. And they weren't it wasn't a deep, big book. It was a lot of just really short, pithy sayings that helped me cope. And I thought it would help her cope at that time as well. And I never expected it to be anything more than that.
The human spirit has phenomenal ability to take what comes at us and fight back in some shape or form. What would you give me as a suitable thought, a suitable saying, one of those things for the current pandemic, for those who are facing basically who knows what? I mean, we have survived, we've moved to the other side, but there's still a long way to go. What would you say?
I would say we have to look at it one step at a time. We have to focus on what we can change and not waste a lot of energy, negative and otherwise, on talking about, isn't this terrible? Why shouldn't they do that? They should do that. They should do that. We have to focus what we can change as individuals, because too much energy is spent thinking about what if this, what if that, rather than looking at what is at this point in time and looking at even one thing you can do positively to move forward. And the pandemic and 9/11, they really feel very, very similar in terms of the fear in the world.
And
because I think
that
fear
though,
powerless.
Catherine, that fear can either be corrosive and take us down, or it can be translated and transmuted to give us hope. Tell me how.
I think it's both. 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 I think it's bo It's different for every. I wish I had a magic wand that I could just wave, because it is different for everyone. But sometimes it's just little words of encouragement, little acts of kindness that sort of give you hope, because it changes from day to day. I'm sure yourself, you might realize that one day you're feeling, okay, we're going to get this. And the next day, for whatever reason, you might slip into a bit of a slump. And, we've been in lockdown in Sydney for, 4 months nearly now. And you just have to look at what you can do every day, be grateful for what you do have every day. Like last week, I had a whole bunch of issues with technical issues. I had an eye operation,
Right.
haven't had my hair cut in 4 months. And I thought to myself, thank goodness I am not in Afghanistan. You have to look, there's always someone worse off than yourself. And that was, again, when my folks died when I was 21. I realized that there were always people much, much worse off than myself. And I think the more you can reach out and help other people, because hope really is, I'm not talking about false hope. You sit there and go, oh, I hope everything will get better. But hope, positive attitude combined with positive action to look at what you can change. And again, don't waste energy on the stuff that you cannot change.
Catherine, very glad that you got up early this morning to join us, and the hair looks just fine for us this morning. Very grateful. Thank you.